Hi there, this is Mike Sieber here. How are we doing today? In this video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of the ancient chakra system and why it's important to acknowledge that we are spiritual and emotional beings and how that correlates with our physical and mental health, how to balance our chakras out, and just how to heal and be fully self-actualized human beings in general. So, as I just stated, your chakras are metaphysical and emotional energy centers that flow throughout your body, starting at the base of your spine all the way up out through the crown of your head. And this is an ancient system, and if you tend to be someone who thinks that human beings are very mechanical, that we're not spiritual beings, then that's your prerogative. I'm going to do my best to explain why we need to acknowledge our emotions and why it's so important that we're in touch with our spirituality, because we are spiritual beings, and it's important that we acknowledge these energy centers. So I'm going to go over the chakras real quick. We have our root chakra, which is the base of the spine, that has to do with our basic survival needs. So that's like fight or flight. That's if you're worried about your bills or your parents die, or really just kind of like basic survival needs. You know, where you're going to get your next meal. If you're worrying about this stuff, it's connected to your adrenal glands. You're going to be experiencing a lot of stress hormones. Your body's going to become very unregulated. You're going to be constant fight or flight and be very stressed. That's your root chakra. So your root chakra, it's very important to keep that under control, minimize your stress, make sure all your safety needs are met. And this is the concepts with this are very similar to Maslow's hierarchy, so of self-actualization. So your root chakra is best, kept in touch with very grounding exercise. Grounding yourself, walking barefoot throughout the day is a very good way to get in touch with your root chakra. Eating earthy foods and stuff of that nature. Your second chakra is your sacral chakra, which is between your belly button and your sex organs, and it's connected to your creative sexual energy, and it's going to be related to your relationship with your sexuality, how you express yourself creatively, your sex life, how you feel about it. Are you suppressed? Do you feel guilty about your sex life? Stuff of that nature. So that's where that energy is going to swirl up. The next chakra, which is very important, is your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is right between your belly button and your sternum. It's right in this area. It's your stomach. A lot of organs in this area. Very important that you do some organ massage to get that. Your solar plexus is connected, I believe, to your pancreas. And your solar plexus is where a lot of emotional energy stirs up. So when you say you get that feeling in your gut, and your gut's like this is a lot of the reason for emotional blockages kind of stir in the gut sometimes. It's really connected to your digestive health. A lot of times when we're repressing our chakras, not letting it rise and being a fully expressive, functional human being, this is kind of the cause for ulcers and stuff like that. So it's a very important area. A lot of organs and energy going through there. The next chakra, which is your heart chakra, is probably probably the most powerful chakra in the body, because when you open up your heart, the rest of your chakras kind of turn on. Your heart chakra has more electromagnetic energy. I think it's something like 1,000 or 10,000 times more than your brain. So it's very important to realize that we are not just walking brains. Our minds are not the only component to what makes us a self-actualized human being. It is our body, and it starts all the way from our roots up through our body. We have to express ourselves. So your heart chakra, getting back to that, is all about connection, love. Do you face the world with an open heart? Do you stand up straight? Do you love people? Do you give them hugs? That's what your heart chakra is about. It's about connection and love. That's why love is so powerful, and the heart chakra is so powerful and has such great healing capabilities. The next chakra is the throat chakra, which is very closely connected to the thyroid and parathyroid glands. Your throat chakra has to do with communication. Are you expressing yourself? Are you speaking like I'm trying to speak right now, doing my best anyway, from the bottom of my belly up through my throat? It should vibrate, your throat should resonate. You should never be afraid to be heard. If your voice is ever cracking or you just can't express yourself, you're not fully expressing yourself through your throat chakra. It's very important you express yourself. Just the vibrations of talking like this, being grounded, doing my best anyway, and trying to breathe. Those vibrations are going to vibrate your thyroid and open up that chakra. So next we have our third eye, which is located right between our temple. Our third eye is associated with the pituitary gland, and that releases hormones that regulate your thyroid and the rest of your body as well. I believe it also regulates melatonin, or it could be the crown, which would be your pineal gland, but I believe it's the pituitary gland is has most of your melatonin regulating abilities, which is very important because melatonin is what makes us get really deep sleep, puts us into dreams, helps us recover completely. So your third eye is very important. It has to do with intuition. When you start opening up your third eye chakra, you should kind of be able to, means you're connected to the rest of your body, you have good relationships, you're kind of in touch with your environment, you have an intuitive sense of what is best for you, what's going to happen, and this is all really important. And the last chakra is your crown chakra, which comes out through the base of your top of your skull, and is kind of the full expression of a self-actualized human being. It means that your energy is flowing all the way up through you, down, back, and you're just fully expressive. You're self-actualized, and you have this, and the crown and the third eye chakra are both, that's where your intuition is going to come from, and your ability to kind of, your psychic ability, if you will, to kind of see people's auras and stuff like that. So it's really important that you're balanced in all these ways. So how to balance your chakras. So a lot of times people aren't well versed in this, or they don't want to acknowledge that they have these extremely important emotional centers. So once again, I'm going to go back to the Holy Trinity, which is your body, your mind, and your soul. They all feed off one another. They're not separate from another. We are not just our mind. We are not just brains walking around that just think and that's it. It's part of it. Our minds are extremely powerful, but it's just one component of what makes us a self-actualized, flowing human being, and these energy centers have to do with it. So to balance your chakras, some things you're really, really going to want to touch on, I'll talk about the physiological factors first, is your diet clean? If you're eating a crappy diet, toxic diet, it's going to throw your energy systems completely out of whack. I can't tell you how often I see people are having mood swings, lashing out, have messed up relationships, are going through divorce, and they haven't even cut out foods that they're completely intolerant to, and they're eating poisonous meals 3-4 times a day. And in my opinion, that's foolish and it's silly. And oftentimes people go to doctors before they attempt to correct what's wrong with their diet. So that's one thing. Next thing is exercise and physical tension. If you have physical tension, let's say you are sitting at a computer 8 hours a day and you have forward shoulder syndrome, you're like this, and you don't really express yourself, and you can't stand up straight and present your heart to the world and your body to the world, you are going to have issues in your chakra system, and your emotions are going to express your body. So that's an example of how your body, mind, and soul are all interconnected, and one of these being out of whack can affect the other one. So it's not always, it's kind of a chicken or the egg kind of thing. It doesn't matter how it came about. All that matters is that you fix it in whatever way you need to. So for that example, you need to fix the tension in your body. You need to work on all this, your shoulder tension. You got to start working out. You got to stand up straighter. That's going to increase the power of your heart, your throat, your neck's going to be straighter. I have a tendency of leaning forward, as you can see. So these are all examples of how you're going to balance your chakras physically, even just standing up straight. See how much my voice gets deeper? I have pressure on the front of my neck, stimulating my thyroid and pumping my body with hormones. So that's a great example of how physicality and exercise can balance your chakra system. So that's an example of the body being the cause of that. The next thing is your mind. Are you consciously choosing to tell yourself negative thoughts and beliefs? Like, hey, here's one for example, I'm just a walking robot. I'm flesh. That's what modern science seems to think. I'm just flesh, and when you die, that's it. That's not a very positive belief for your mind. It's going to throw your chakras all out of whack. I used to think that way myself. I did not find it positive. And now I don't need to ask myself if there is a God or a connection, because I've experienced it, and I no longer have to believe that, and my body and energy systems can express that. So, an example of your soul and your mind kind of feeding off each other in this one is, you need to have a dream and a goal and a passion and a purpose in life. If you don't have a dream or goal and passion, you're kind of misguided, you're misdirected, everything else is going to be out of whack. If you wake up every single day when you don't know what you want to be, what you want to do, or even the kind of energy you want to feel, if you don't tell yourself, hey, even if you just wake up every day and say, hey, I want to love today, I want to be loved, I want to give love, I want to make someone happy, that's how I want to live my life. That's a purpose, that's all you need to get going, that's what you got to live. It's going to express itself energetically. So here's some more examples of your energy systems being off emotionally, because I think metaphysically a lot of people don't acknowledge this. One of the most, in Western culture, is one of the most sad things to see is that people don't acknowledge their emotions, and they often block their evolution, their growth, by not listening to their heart. and suppressing these things. And when you get that repression, that's when you get the tension. You don't want to suppress yourself, and you get all like shaky and tense, and that's when you get the ulcers, the cancers, stuff like that can be caused by psychological and emotional blockages at the root. You know, eventually you're going to start eating crap, or you might use drugs, but the root of that problem is emotional in nature. So that's an example of the mind affecting the body. So as you can see, it's all connected. It's chicken or the egg. Really doesn't matter how you got the issue, it just matters that you solve it. So bringing it all together, and some more emotional examples, would be like, let's say you get a call and both your parents just died. Boom, your root chakra and your whole emotional energy system is going to be out of whack. You're going to be going through trauma. That's a traumatic emotional experience. Let's say your spouse cheats on you and you don't let that go, ever. You just don't let it go. You live with it for a couple of years and your stomach gets all tense. You're just walking around, you're all tensed up because your wife cheated on you, you can't open, you won't be expressive. That could give you an ulcer. Stress is the #1 killer, and these are emotional factors at the root of them. They're emotional and spiritual a lot of times. This is why it's so important to have a spiritual practice, to exercise and do the right thing. So, another thing too is that your intuition, your third eye, and your crown, I've experienced this personally. To some people it might sound like hocus pocus, but you can see people's auras, you can develop intuition, you can look at someone instantly know if they're a positive person. Most of us have these abilities, but I'm saying push it a little. You can get a little, there is some psychic energy exchange. Humans can only interpret very limited wavelengths, which are light, sound, and all that, but there's so much more going on in the energetic exchange between people and with love and our bodies and our emotions, that there's so much more going on that you can tap into, but you have to have a clear crown and third eye to do that. You have to be able to express yourself. Your heart has to be open. So it's really about aligning your chakras and developing that intuition, that connection. So that's a reason to really work on yourself emotionally and do practices that kind of heal your body and your emotional centers and balance your chakras, because you will be able to develop more intuition, you'll have more psychic abilities, you'll be able to see people's auras, you'll be able to output and receive love on a more increased basis, which is extremely important. And your ability just to be mindful and present will increase. So with that said, I think that's a good rundown of your chakras. It's really from the base of your spine up, and energy flows up and down through it. There's all sorts of, I can get into this. I just wanted to give you a basic rundown of the chakra systems, why it's so important in your health, and start viewing this, incorporating a spiritual practice into your exercise. When I go to the gym, I'm breathing into my body. I'm really just embracing it. Wherever I have tension, I don't judge it. I've been in yoga classes where I just start crying, and I don't judge it. You gotta let it out. Crying is a great emotional release. Screaming, yelling, jumping up and down, whatever you have to do to get a good release. So yeah, with that said, don't hold on to traumas. You gotta, sometimes this is why I love, I'm a personal trainer, I love getting into the body, because the body you can solve so many issues just by maintaining your body and tapping into these emotional centers. So there's all sorts of exercises. Again, the book I'm referencing for this is the book of Chakra Healing by Liz Simpson. I recommend it because it just shows you some basic exercises, gives you a good rundown. It's a nice visual, colorful book as well. It just gives you a really basic understanding, kind of what I'm explaining here, the chakra system. That's a cool book. I referenced that a little to make this video. And just remember that you are more than just a lump of flesh. No matter what anyone tells you, you're a body, mind, and soul function together. We have all these layers that make us up. We're very complex beings. You need to have a purpose, a dream, and feel love and connection to be balanced. And with that said, I'm going to give you a few more tips to leave off with balancing your chakras. The first thing is, this energy I drew here looks like DNA flowing through your chakras. The best way to stimulate all your chakras at once is to breathe deeply. Breathe. That's why every ancient practice that has to do with the body, Tai Chi, yoga, etc., has to do with the breath. It focuses on the breath. This has been figured out. Your breathing is your rhythm and your flow and your vital life force. So, ground yourself through your breathing. Whenever you're feeling a little stressed or out of it, always come back to the breath. It's a great practice. One of the most powerful things I learned in my yoga practice is that I wasn't breathing properly. I had tons of tension. Your breath is your flow and your rhythm. It's one of the best ways to be in balancing your chakras. And with that said, I highly recommend starting something more ancient that gets you in your body and out of the mind. Don't judge what emotions come up. Start doing yoga. Yoga is a practice that does stretches and poses that open up all these chakras in their own way. A lot of things like Om, that's vibrational energy. It's not just hocus pocus. That's vibrations to your vocal cords in your body that stimulates the release of tension and your chakras and your emotional energy centers. So really consider yoga. In my experience, that was my personal journey to kind of releasing a lot of trauma and emotional energy. I highly recommend it. Weight training can be a great release for aggression, just those lower emotions that kind of get you stirred up. Besides that, Tai Chi is a good one. Any form of meditation whatsoever. Silent meditation is one of the most powerful forms of emotional healing and trauma release you can get. You have to be consistent with it. Do your silent meditation practice 2 times a day, even just for 10 to 15 minutes. Focus on your breathing, shut your eyes. Focus on the air touching the bridge of your nose if you need to focus on it. Just come back to your breath. Thinking is okay. Thinking is on the level of the mind you're trying to get in your body. It takes a couple weeks to silence it. That can really balance out your chakras. So meditation, breathing, yoga, weight training, grounding yourself, walking barefoot every day, hiking, getting out in nature, get away from all the noise and electronic pollution, get out in nature. These are all ways to balance your chakras. The most powerful way to balance your chakra too is to connect with others, to spread love, to hug someone. So that's about it. That's the best ways I know how to balance your chakra system. Make sure to start assessing yourself, do some more research for yourself. There's a lot of, I was just trying to give you a basic rundown. There's a lot of good information out there on this. There's a lot of great practices, as I mentioned before, yoga, weight training, whatever it is, whatever ancient practice you can find, or not ancient, whatever practice you can find that'll help your body heal itself and you can get more in touch with yourself. Begin to get more in touch with your emotions. Always breathe. See when you hold on to tension. Do certain people make you feel tension in your stomach or your heart? Are you afraid to express yourself? Maybe you need to join a choir and sing more to vibrate your throat and just practice expressing yourself. Ground yourself. Walk barefoot. Connect to nature and your environment. Give and receive love and you should be fine. And that is my video on how to balance your chakras. Thefunctionalbody.com. Thanks.